Today was the kids' last day of school. It was a half day. They got out at noon. And we are spending the afternoon picking up round bales. To get wrapped, which will make feed for our milk cows. So that's what we're starting off the summer doing now that they're out of school. And we thought we'd take you guys along with us to see a little bit of how things are done putting up feed on our farm. We're going to start right here with these. So you're going to loop down and kind of come straight in the middle so there's an even amount of bales on both sides, okay?
I'll try.
Yeah, Mom can help you count, kind of tell you where to turn.
Yeah, I kind of think I know.
I don't know how much driving we'll need to do because they're kind of all clumped. So I'll grab one here, and then I'll go start over in the corner next. So you can kind of stay up in here, Beth.
I get to control it. I can get the driver gets to do everything. You're not videotaping.
We ain't born to follow, we were born to lead. Raised on honor, not on greed. Ain't afraid to get our hands in mud. We ride for the flag, not for the blood. Stars in the sky, stripes on the tailgate, boots in the dust, red dirt fake. Born with a backbone built like steel.
This is one of our fields where we're cutting hay right now. You can see we have our mower here. It's nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. This is an old alfalfa stand that has a lot of volunteer grass in it that we are cutting for heifer and dry cow feed. And so we're laying it out flat. We're hoping that we're going to be able to get it dry in the next few days. When we're trying to get dry hay, it has to lay out for, depending on the weather, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, depending on the time of year, to get everything dried down, and then we'll put it in a giant bale, and we'll be able to feed it that way. We do have other hay that we can that we're moving right now that we already baled. We cut it and then we bale it within a day or two. That stuff we do wet, and then we wrap it in plastic, and that allows it to ferment. The dry hay we don't want to ferment, and so we're going to let it lay out, let the sun do its thing, get everything dried down. That'll give you a look at what it looks like before it's cut, and then what it looks like when it's laying down. You can see this here is our alfalfa. From a dairy cow perspective, we don't want it flowering at all, or very, very minimal. So you won't see any, the purple is the flowering, and that means the alfalfa is getting more mature. So we're going to try and cut it before we get to that point. And then you'll see that there is quite a bit of grass in this old stand, but that's going to be great for our heifers and our dry cows who don't need as much of the nutrients that come from the alfalfa. They're more looking for the filler that we get with the grass. So this stand should be pretty good. We do have a spot in the back of this field that floods when we have a creek that runs through the back of the farm back there, and it floods when that creek gets high. So that hay is not great. We had quite a bit of flooding this spring, and so we are that's why we're taking it off for heifer. They don't need as high of quality of feed. You can see we have it laid out in a fairly big row. This is one pass that's laid out flat, and that's to expose as much of it to the sun and the breeze to allow it to dry. We may come in here with a rake and fluff it up. We also have a piece of equipment that will flip it over, and that allows the undersides to dry. We want to try and keep it up off the ground and just keep it drying as quickly as possible, because Mother Nature is Mother Nature, and We never know when you're in Michigan when a storm can move through. So the faster we can get it baled, dried up and baled, the better. This mix has rye, triticale, and barley in it. So a nice diverse mix for the soil, and then the cows are really going to enjoy it too. This is another field that we are doing dry for our dry cows and heifers. It has been laying for a few days. We've already raked and baled, or we're baling it right now. So it's been tedded and raked and dried down. We think it should be sufficient to be in a bale. So that's what we're doing on this field. First cutting, we get, this is the time of year, end of May, beginning of June, that we're taking off all of our cover crops. We're getting most of that feed for our heifers and dry cows. And then we're also taking off first cutting hay from our alfalfa stands for our milk cows. And so this time of year, we're getting a lot of our feed off. I would say we're probably close to half of our feed for the year is coming at this time of year. So busy time of year. We're also still planting. We don't have everything planted yet. So it's end of the school year. A little chaos right now. It's all been raked up in a nice pile here. A little ASMR for you. Sounds crunchy and dry. All of our hay goes into round bales. So we have round bale feeders for our dry cows and our heifers. For our milk cows, we're going to put it in a TMR mixer, and we're going to break it down and chop it into little pieces for their TMR. And then for our smaller heifers and calves, we just hand feed off from a round bale. So we don't do small squares of dry hay. It's a lot of handling and extra manpower that we don't really have here. The row is a little bit smaller than the pickup, so he's going to weave back and forth to try and make sure that that's all going into the bale evenly and we have even sized bales. Stopping, we wrap the bales with a net wrap is what we call it, and so right now the baler is wrapping it and then it will dump it out. And then he's ready to start another bale. So it just keeps kind of like a snowball, just keeps adding more and more hay on it. And then this is what we consider our net wrap. So it's just a mesh that we wrap around it 2 or 3 times to hold everything in. And then we'll just take that off when we feed it. It's really important that we take that off when we feed it to the cows because it's plastic and we don't want our cows consuming that. All right, we have started feeding the hay that we have just taken off. So I got heifers here and I got dry cows directly in front of me where we just fed bales. So you'll see they are enjoying their bale. These are dry cows. So dry cows are cows that are not milking and going to have a baby within the next month or 2. There are some heifers that are closer to calving over there as well. And then in this pen over here, we can see that we have another bale right there. And these guys are breeding age heifers and they're enjoying the new hay. We are on about day 6 of hay. We're making progress. That was rude. We have one field that was just baled tonight, and Drew will start moving some of those home tonight, but we'll probably have to finish up tomorrow. And then we have a field directly in front of me that we got raked at the end of the day, So we're going to let it dry up a little bit more before we bale it. Our heifer and dry cow feed is all dry, so we're able to start feeding that right away. And you can see they love it. It smells really good. If I could sense smell through the camera, I would. The milk cow hay is all taken off and it is all wrapped in plastic, so it is fermenting now. We like to let it ferment at least a month before we start feeding it. So that's that. We still have hay from last year that we're feeding our milk cows, so we're fine there. The dry cows and heifers, we were getting low on feed. We were actually buying hay the last couple months to get us through. So we'll see how this year goes. We'll see what kind of yield we get off from our fields, and hopefully, our goal is always to have enough hay to be self-sustaining to make it through to next spring. We will take our actual alfalfa fields. We try and take at least 4, sometimes 5 cuttings off a year. We're on a pretty strict 21-day cut schedule. We try to be, depending on the weather. So that means we will mark down the date that we cut these alfalfa fields, and then 21 days from now, we're going to be cutting it again and baling it up again and wrapping and the whole process over again. But you guys like the new hay? Oh, it's got some on her face. Is this Forrest? This is Forrest. She is super friendly. She likes to be in your pocket constantly. You open the gate, she tries to get out. It's kind of annoying if we're being honest, but gotta love them, right?
With a backbone built like steel, we say what we mean and we mean what's real. Crack of the bat, snap of a branch, pledge of allegiance with a soldier's stance. Ain't no shame in a slow draw sound. Red dirt rebels don't back down. Red dirt rebels rolling loud and proud, flying that flag, turning heads in a crowd. From the farms to the fields to the edge of town, you can't break what's too tough to drown. Freedom's in our boots and fire's in our soul. Red dirt rebels won't ever be controlled. Coors on ice, camo on the vest. Drive like hell, still looking our best. Granny's cross, cousins dog tags. Truck bed filled with
Nice.
old glory flags. Running on grid in a
We're at another one of our fields. This field was planted in, I'm trying to look, I think it was beans last year. We planted a cover crop. Cover crops allow us to have something growing on the field all year round, so we don't lose our soil when it's windy. And it just keeps the ground having living organisms in it all year round. So we put in a cover crop. The nice thing is it can serve dual purpose. It feeds the soil, it keeps something living on the soil, and then we can also feed it to our cows depending on what we put on it. So once this field's all baled up, we will be able to plant the crop for this upcoming year on this field. So it's almost like double cropping. We're gonna get feeding, we're gonna get bales off from it to feed our heifers, and then we're gonna be able to plant a grain crop in here. I'm not sure what he has slated for this year. I'm assuming corn. If we did some sort of beans last year, we have, on our farm we do corn, soybeans, black beans, and wheat. And so I'm guessing corn's on the rotation this year for this field. But there's living organisms here that have already started coming to life, and so when we put the corn in here, this plant material that's left is going to break down and it's going to feed the next plants that come alive. So we do 100% cover crop here, and sometimes we seed enough, thick enough that we can bale it for feed, but sometimes we do it strictly for the soil health.
rebels rolling loud and